You've seen the news stories on TV, online, everywhere you turn. People can't seem to make ends meet. A recent CNBC report in December of 2023 said over 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And among those earning over $100,000 a year, over 50% live paycheck to paycheck. Do you know what the report said is to blame for the financial pressure people are feeling? Inflation? Higher interest rates? Increased wage pressure? No. Granted, all these things may have some role to play. However, the CNBC report chalked the issue down to a little thing known as lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is what happens when your pay increases and you spend more, often in fact, more than your pay increase. So you obviously cannot get to a place of financial peace or harmony even with a higher income. Welcome to another video. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics says in principle that families making $100,000 a year spend over $560 on eating out each month. If these statistics on spending patterns are correct, then increased income isn't the solution to the financial pressure that families are facing, because unless the underlying issue of overspending is first addressed, additional income will continue to be met by expanding demand. You probably know that the three highest household expenses are shelter, transportation, and food. If you did not, well, now you do. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics and Statistics Canada both report that housing takes up about 30 to 35% of household incomes, transportation about 15 to 17%, food about 15%. So shelter and food alone take up about 50% of household income, probably more than 60% with inflation in recent years, resulting in crazy high housing prices. So if you can manage these two expenses well, you'll find additional cash to invest. In the stock market, in a property, two of the most time-tested ways of building real wealth. But there is more. Please stay with me. An interesting statistic from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics says Americans spend about 45% of their food budget on eating out. Groceries only take about 55% of the food budget. So let's talk about food. We all know that eating out is inherently more expensive than preparing meals at home. When I started rebuilding my finances, I cut my eating out to just once a month and for special occasions, and I realized nearly $300 savings per month. If you're looking to see an improvement in your finances, especially cash flow, take a look at your food expenses. One of the first things to do is to, of course, consider dining out less, much less. The impact will be immediate. Savings from food alone could bring in anywhere between $100 to $400 per month for a family of four with a household income of $100,000 a year. Simply set a food budget, plan your meals, and cook at home. Because consider this, if households spend 15% of their income on food, this translates to about $1,250 per month for a family making $100,000 per year. This also means the family spends over $560 per month eating out. That is 45% of $1,250. Reducing dining out and reallocating part of that savings to your grocery could net you an additional cash flow of between $200 to $300 a month, because you will not need to redirect the entire $560 from dining out to groceries. But think of what you can do with extra cash of $200 to $300 each month. You can simply pay down some debt, add it to an emergency fund, pay down your mortgage, you make your peak. Setting a food budget and planning your meals will ensure that when you go grocery shopping, you only pick up the ingredients that you need for your meals and nothing more. You'll not be tempted by sales and other flashy signs in the store. Meal planning will also minimize the temptation to order in or go out because, well, you're not sure what to have for dinner tonight. So how about housing? Let's talk about housing. Do you really need a 3,000 square foot house, or a 1,500 square foot house would do just fine? Think of the difference in mortgage payments. Buying enough house to meet your needs will keep more money in your pocket, because a bigger house means higher property taxes, higher utility bills, plus it's probably in the same neighborhood as the Joneses. Yes, those Joneses. So now you need an impressive and expensive car in the driveway to complete the look. One inopportune move and it morphs into a life of its own. Here are some things you can consider in an effort to manage your housing expenses. Consider house hacking if possible. A house with a rental unit attached or additional rooms that you can rent out will supplement your income or reduce your mortgage payments, a mortgage helper of sorts. While renting out rooms in a home may not always be feasible for a family, if you're single, definitely that's an option. Not only will this subsidize your housing costs, you'll see additional cash in your hands that you can invest. Is your home close to your work, or do you have a long commute? I know oftentimes people are living far from their work because it's cheaper to commute. But if you live closer to your work, assuming it's not in a very expensive city, you will see savings from reduced transportation costs. Savings on housing expenses will depend on how drastic the measures are that you're able and willing to take. Managing housing costs will generate the single largest cash flow savings compared to all other expenses. This could range from a few $100s to over $1,000 per month. I've mostly had one income throughout my working life, through my job, so I know one can find cash to invest and get started on their wealth building journey. Over the last few years, I have reversed my financial fortune by largely depending on my paycheck after some bad financial decisions put me in a very precarious financial position. More on this in a future video. I know that for most people, their jobs will remain their main source of income throughout their lives, as they are unable to take on multiple income streams or jobs. I'm here to encourage you that this should not prevent you from slowly building wealth from your paycheck. Again, the trick is to control your expenses and manage your consumption by living below your means. Sounds obvious, right? But we all need occasional reminders. I have learned that the hard way. To be sure, I'm not suggesting you live in deprivation, although this might be necessary at the beginning if you want to see some real immediate impact. What I'm asking, however, is that you take a second look at these two key household expenses, housing and food, which take up over 50% of most household income, and you are bound to find some excess cash if you intentionally set out to make some changes in your lifestyle. Changes to our food and housing expenses over the last 2 to 3 years have turned our finances around from debt of nearly 6 figures to where we now see financial stress in the rearview mirror and are working towards a secure financial future. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching.